Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for watching and coming back and tuning in, all that good stuff. Hope you're having an awesome day. Today I'm messing around in Topaz Studio and I'm on my continual quest to sort of go through most, I don't think I'm going to do all, but most, gosh, I don't know if I should say most even, a good bit of the pro adjustments that are available in Topaz Studio. There are 24, so I don't think I'm going to do 24 videos. I may not even do 15. Whatever. There's a few that I'm playing with. Some of them are fairly simple and straightforward. Some are a little bit more complicated. I've already done some videos on some, like precision contrast I did. You can check that out there. Smudge I did as well. You can check that out there as well. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with some of these pro adjustments, or I call them filters, but they call them adjustments. Anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Radiance Pro Adjustment or Pro Filter. Radiance is, I mean, I gotta admit, it's kind of weird. It's fun, it's unique, it's different, but it's kind of weird. It's not something you're gonna use every day, but there are some shots where it can make a really interesting and cool impact, I think. And so let's just hop into it. Here's a photo. Now this is previously edited. I did kind of a vintage look, something I found in Copenhagen and shot. But anyway, if you want the Radiance Adjustments, it's a pro adjustment. You just come down and click Radiance and get it. If you don't own it, go to the link down below and you can purchase it. I believe it's $29.99. You can use coupon code GYMNIX, and that will save you 15% on anything on the Topaz store. That is an affiliate link. I make a couple of bucks or something if you buy that, in which case, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, Radiance. Now, I had Topaz Glow years ago, not to be confused with the Glow Pro Adjustment. This is where things get a little fuzzy. But Glow is a separate standalone plug-in product. It's no longer available, and my thinking here is that some of the technology in the Radiance Adjustment came from Glow, because Glow and Radiance did basically the same kind of thing, which is you get really vivid light. You get some electrifying kind of effects. It's hard to describe, so let me just show you. So you come over here, and I'm just going to mess with the sliders, all right? I'm not going through a full description of every one of these because I got a bunch of images I want to show you. You can see you start getting these weird, I mean, look at that. It's kind of cool. You can change the width or the length. You can make it kind of a curl. You can suppress the weaker artifacts. You can reduce saturation. You can also reduce the effect coverage. There's a lot of different things that you can do to make your images different here, right? So I did all this stuff. It all looks kind of weird. That's not the look that I like, and believe it or not, I actually like the presets. And so one of the presets I really like is called this Edge Shock. So let me click that, give it a second, and it'll ring through. It'll kind of go through, and boom, there you go. If you look at it, it's got these light streaks that are kind of vertical and horizontal throughout the image. So you can turn up the strength of those if you want to. You can increase the width, and you start getting these really cool kind of electric effects. That's probably a bit overdone, so I'm going to turn that back down a little bit. But that's a preset, and I don't use presets a whole lot in Studio, but in this particular filter or adjustment, I do quite a bit. Saturation is for, above this line is basically for the light adjustments. Below the line is for the background. So if I hit fade, that will fade out the background of this photo like that. And saturation is also for the background of the photo. You can see that coming through there. So let me reset that. I got a bunch of photos. I'll just kind of show you some of the different ways that you can use this adjustment to basically have some interesting impacts on your photo. So again, here's Radiance. I'm going to choose that same Edge Shock. That is the one that I like the best. And look at that. I think that's really cool. Let me show you the original. This was just a rose in my backyard 8 or 10 years ago, something I shot. I don't really shoot flowers very much. I don't have a macro lens. This is just a shot. It had rained, and I just was out there looking, and I was like, that's so cool, the water drops. And so I took a photo. Not really my thing. Kind of interesting photo, I think, but anyway. But with some of these edge adjustments here, I just think it looks pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I'd probably crop, which, by the way, you can do. You can just come over here and choose crop, and then I would just come in and just crop that dude up. Let's see here, something like that. Maybe do a little bit of that and say done. And there's my photo. So kind of an interesting look. Again, if you compare it to original, And that, I think it looks pretty cool on flowers. Now, let me get into some neon because I love my neon. And when I was playing with this adjustment, considering all the different lines and things like that happen with some of the settings in the Radiance filter, I immediately thought of neon and nighttime shots. And so I have this shot, again, previously edited. You can see all the star stuff. This was shot with my Lens Baby Trio. I've got a link down below for that. It's a fun little lens. It blurs the edges, gives you some nice soft kind of blurred, bokeh edges. But I got the star filter on it as well, which makes all the little pinpricks of light turn into starburst. So a fun photo in and of itself, made even more fun when you get into the Radiance filter. And again, I'm going to go with this Edge Shock. And let me just show you that. I just think it's really cool. Give that a second. It kind of rotates through the first filter and it comes up on that. And there you go. I mean, I just think that's really wicked looking. I'm going to do a little fade on the background. And let's see. Here's an idea. I think I would come into this add basic adjustment, which is a free adjustment. Maybe bump up the exposure a little bit. Maybe give it a little bit of clarity. Maybe take down some of the highlights. Maybe bump the exposure a tiny bit more. Let's see here. Maybe a little bit more even. Boom. There we go. So something like that. I think that looks wicked cool. Let me show you the original. There we go. That's getting a little too bright. Let me drop the exposure back down. Let me show you the original. So there's the original, I think already of an interesting shot. Shot in Seattle, obviously at their Pike Place Market at night. But all the starburst effects are cool. But I really thought they would be cool if I amped them up. And this looks like the photo is kind of zooming. Have you ever done that with a zoom lens? I've done it a few times. Like if you're shooting some lights and then in the middle of a long exposure, you just zoom in or out and it causes like a look, it blurs the photo, but usually like the center's in focus and the lights kind of go, anyway, I don't know what it's called. You probably know what I'm talking about. It looks like that. I think that's super wicked cool. And that's another fun implementation. Now let me show you a neon shot, this being Moulin Rouge in lovely Paris. God, what a gorgeous town. Long exposure, unedited photo. You can see that windmill rotates slowly, so I don't know how long this was. Let's call it 30 seconds or so. But I did a long exposure on purpose so that the windmill would be a complete blur and rotate. You can also tell it's a tight aperture because the light sources here are all starbursty, which is what you get when you shoot like f/16, f/22, that kind of thing. So again, let me jump into Radiance. Now, let me show you some of these other presets. Here's Dark Web, which is a little moody for me. This Electric Lines is kind of cool. Again, these are presets, and I use them as kind of a starting place. In fact, I like Electric Lines. It's kind of crazy, but again, you can come in here and take the strength down and make adjustments to it. And I'm going to make a few adjustments and see how we end up in terms of making this photo look a little different. And that's the thing with this app. I actually don't like the width being wide. I like the thinner. It looks more interesting to me. I like to experiment, and I think that's the best way to do it. I don't think that there's a written way. There's not like a, here's what you should do. I just think it's go experiment. Let me show you neon lights, which, theoretically you could use on neon lights. That's not it. Give it a second. You can see it takes a minute to go through. Kind of crazy, kind of over the top, but again, you can back all these down because keep in mind, there's also an opacity. So if I choose neon lights and that comes on, I can also reduce the opacity up here, which is, reducing not just the strength of that filter, but also just reducing the opacity of the entire layer. So keep that in mind. Again, my visual aesthetics, is that the right word? My preference is kind of that edge shock sort of look. I like it quite a bit. I think it's super cool looking. And, again, this might be a situation where you come in here with the basic adjustment that is included for free. Maybe you bump up the exposure. Maybe you take down the highlights a little bit. And let's see what that does. Yeah, the highlights, here we go. Are they coming down? There we go. Not too much. I'm going to drop them a little bit more. Interesting looking stuff, I think, with light sources, especially at night, and with that kind of edge shock preset. Whoops. I'm in the basic. Here we go. Radiance. Here we go. I'm in edge shock, which is that one there. So a lot of cool stuff you can do. Let me also jump and show you a couple of others. And again, I'm just going to do edge shock. That one's my favorite, as you can tell. And that's simply because I like those little pinpricks of light. I think they're really cool looking. And look at that. I think that looks really neat. I think I would go higher strength. I think I would increase the fade and the saturation. And look at that. To me, did you see the Bourne movies? And they have kind of those motion graphics that are going on in the background or whatever with Jason Bourne stuff. It kind of makes me think of that. I probably got the strength a little too high, but I think that's kind of fun. It actually, especially with the nighttime shots with these light sources being kind of horizontal, it looks like, have you ever seen like what's called an anamorphic lens, where it'll take a light source, like a headlight or something. You see this in movies where a headlight, and then like the light source for the headlight seems to kind of span and go all the way across the frame. It kind of stretches out the light on, sort of on a horizontal plane. It kind of makes me think of that, which I think is kind of fun and interesting. And here's one more. I had all these photos, just kind of playing around. And one more time, I'm going to do my favorite, edge shock, simply because, again, I like those thin lines of light. As you can see, you can do a lot of different things with it. Maybe I'll take the saturation, the strength down a little bit. Maybe I'll go get basic adjustment and pop a little bit of exposure increase on the photo, because it has gotten a little bit dark. Maybe even a little bit more. And let's see here. Yeah, I like that. And then maybe let me warm it up a little bit. Let's see how that looks. That looks pretty cool. And maybe give it a little bit of tint. Yeah, that's looking pretty cool, really, I think. Again, before, that's an edited photo, by the way, of Diagon Alley. I call it Diagon Alley, which is a scene or a place, a location in the Harry Potter books. This is called Leadenhall or Leadenhall Market in London, used as a setting for Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter movies. Anyway, I call it Diagon Alley, edited photo. And then there it is with the kind of fun. So you can see with the lights, I got interesting reflections. I got cool lights going on. Anyway, that's basically just using Radiance, which is a paid or pro adjustment filter in Topaz Studio, with some other things. I used dual tone, which is basically split toning, which is free. And I used basic adjustment on a couple of these, simply just to do some creative things. I think it's fun. You can come up with a lot of different ways to sort of mess around with this. It's also interesting like on animals or pets. I think it's really particularly good on anything that has some kind of light sources, like pinpricks of light, like in that Seattle shot, or straight up neon, like the Moulin Rouge shot, I should say, or light like this, where you have all these lights kind of running around the edges of the photo. If you notice, there's all these little lamps, if you will, and little bits of light coming out of them, but this turns it into looking like it's a straight neon light running down the edges of the photo. So I just think it's kind of cool. Animals also works really cool on cars. So lots of different things you can do. Just fun to experiment with. If you want to check it out, you can do so on the link below. And again, just having fun with Topaz Studio. Great product, great fun. If you have any questions, let me know. Like, subscribe, share, all that sort of stuff. Please leave me some feedback on these kind of videos. I'll be back more. I should say I'll be back soon with more. I've got more videos around Aurora and Luminar and more Topaz stuff coming. Hope you're having fun out there. Go have some fun and make something creative and different, and have a great day. Thanks for watching, my friends. Take care and adios.